Okay, so we've already learned a lot, right? Learned about what beats per minute are. We learned how to sync the beats per minute and how to choose our songs so two songs go together. And we've learned how to sync on the downbeat, so that's called beat matching. So next what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at phrase matching. And I have samples here, but we can't do samples. So, because this program doesn't have it. So let's look at phrase matching. And I get that there's nothing cool about learning how to DJ on D2L with an old lady who's using Loom to like record it. So anyway, bear with me, and I hope that you're having fun sort of experimenting with it. And also like appreciating a little bit more about what goes into DJing and like, you know, why like, what does like Marshmello do as a DJ? And these are like just there's a lot of things that are sort of going on. Okay, so let's look at now transition DJ. And I want to point out too is that that's why DJs will have like a headphone on one ear, so he's like listening, he or she is listening to the music, you know, and then also can hear the crowd because you're listening to what everybody else is hearing, and at the same time you're listening to the song that's coming up, so you can sort of like match it all up and get the next song ready to go. And you've got to appreciate too, back in the day when you're just using two turntables and just using records, they didn't have like these graphic representations of like where the beats are and automatically sync it for you, right? There's a lot of fiddling. Now something else as well so what I want to talk about now is phrase matching. So most songs are in 4/4 time, which most popular music songs, especially what we're working with, are 4/4 time. What that means is it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So those are the beats per minute, and we know that already, right? But phrase matching is a whole phrase. So typically in most sort of contemporary poppy kind of songs and these sort of genres have a phrase of 4 beats of 4. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. That's one phase. And then it starts over again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, those chunks, so usually what happens is a song will start off with and do those 16 beats, those 4 beats of 4. And then the next phrase and the downbeat, that's usually when you introduce like a new instrument, when the vocals come in, when it changes perhaps into like from a verse to a chorus, things like that. So not only do we have to worry about the beats being synced, so they got similar songs, so it's the same sort of tempo, we also have to match the beats so they both have the same downbeat, so that makes sense. But when we go from one song to another, we want to make sure that it's phrasing. We don't want to transition in a song in the middle of a phrase because big things happen on the downbeat, the first beat of the phrase. So if we were going to be going from one song to another, we want to do it when on the downbeat on the phrase. Okay, so there's a lot sort of going on here, right? So I picked 2 songs. I put New Order, and I just want you to hear first of all what the phrase sounds like. Okay, so there's a little bit of an intro before the phrase starts, but let's just listen to really quickly. Okay, so I'm going to start it. The crossfaders all the way to the left. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. New phrase. And then now a new instrument's going to be introduced. Okay, you get the idea. The nice thing about having a program like this is you can actually see when the phrases are. Visually, you can see the 1 and the 4, right? The beats, and you can count them. So that's really useful, right? And that's something they wouldn't have had with, records and the turntables in the old school days. Okay, so that's great. So let's see how we can use phrase matching and the beats per minute and the beats per minute to kind of go from one song to another. So let's put it all together now, and then we can practice it. Okay, so now I'm going to put everything together. So I've loaded up my New Order song and I have a Proclaimers song. So they don't have very similar beats per minute. I've sort of over-exaggerated just so I can show you how to sync them. So remember, you're going to hit the sync button to make sure they're sync. So it's going to change the sound a little bit for the Proclaimers, but I think the genre works really well. So I think it's going to be okay. It's not too big of a difference. Okay, so what I want to do with my crossfader all the way to the left, I'm going to start my New Order song, right? And I'm going to count. And then what I'm going to do is when I get down to the downbeat of the second phrase, that's when I get to hit the play button on my second song. That should automatically beat match them, right? And then that way, when I change them, I'm going to also change on the phrases as well. So I'm going to just to start it, and then also just to play it. So let me just get started. Here we go. So here is the first song, and I'm going to count. I'm going to count out loud. You can count in your head, but here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2. Now you press play. And if I did it right, it's synced here as well. Look at that. And I'm not going to fade from one song to another until the downbeat on the end of the phrase, okay? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. Now I can do it. 2, 2, 3. Now it's lagging a little bit because I think I'm recording and there's a lot going on. So if I want to transition back, I could. 4, 2, 3, 4. 3. Okay. Okay, so you sort of get the feel of that. Okay, so experiment with that. Sorry, everything's all laggy because I'm recording. Okay, so I can't stop the song. Okay, so I want you to experiment with that. So just transitioning with the phrasing, with the beat matching, syncing that. So play around with that and just play with a few different songs and just see how that goes. Okay, so practice that. And then it becomes second nature. Okay, have fun.